Good morning.
I was just going to say good morning and you beat me to
Good
it.
morning.
Sometimes when you beat me to, we like always say the exact same thing at the same time, but sometimes when you beat me to it, I low key get like mad because like
Because you
I
want
feel like if I say like I was just going to say that,
Yeah.
then it's not as believable.
Yeah, I know. I had that same feeling the other day. I can't remember what it was, but you said something about wanting to do something, and I was like, damn it, because I swear I was just thinking the same thing. Might have been a bath or something.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of occasions where this happens, and again, I'll say it over and over again, like you're like a simulation of something. Like I manifested you like just appeared in the algorithm on TikTok, and it was like, yeah,
Here you
here you
go.
go. This
A
is,
gift.
yeah, it's pretty incredible. You're wearing painter clothes right
Yeah.
now.
I'm going to paint our fireplace today in
Yeah.
our room. I'm going to paint it black, and I've been wanting to do it for weeks, and it's going down today.
It's going
It's
down.
going down. I'm excited for it.
I don't know what I'm going to get it into. I've been working all weekend on
All
a
weekend,
on a big
nonstop.
on a big project, and honestly, like it's been a really long time that I've been like hyper obsessed
Mm-hmm.
over a working project.
You mean it's been a long time since you've been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like where you just
Are so in it. I was
yeah.
really surprised because this morning I did not expect you to just like stay in bed and open your laptop. I think I went like to get coffee and came back and I was like, damn. All right.
I keep having these thoughts of like, but I would add like I want to add this or I need to move this around. And you know, as a designer, first and foremost, like I need it to flow a certain way and I need it to look crisp and aesthetically pleasing and make sense. Like part of being a designer, and I know you recently like started your design career as a
Mm-hmm.
freelance designer, so
Mm-hmm.
high five to that.
I'm really excited
Um
about it.
um it's basically cramming 10 pounds of shit into a 2-pound bag. And
Yeah.
how can you make all of this information feel organized and easy to read and digest and absorb and all of the things and have it look
Mm-hmm.
good?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for me, it's like the strategy of it too, and picking my quote unquote players
Mm-hmm.
for this particular strategy. It's like anything when you're picking, like I don't know, I don't get into like the fantasy football thing, but I know there are a
There are
lot of
people
people
that
that do
do.
that, and like you strategize and you pick your top players and you're like moving people over and you're drafting them or you're cutting them or like whatever. Like that's what I'm in the middle of right
Yeah.
now.
It's been fun to watch you be like, and you've been voted off the island.
Yeah. So
I'm proud of you.
I don't know. I love influencer management. I love looking for the right influencers. I love getting to
Kind
know
of goes hand
them,
in hand with how we ended our last episode talking about how you like to,
build relationships.
yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
I
connect
love
with new people.
yeah,
And
I love it.
mm-hmm.
And just like figuring out ways to like have a deeper relationship with somebody and not have it just be a transactional moment. And um yeah, it's good stuff, and I'm hyper focused on that. I'm probably going
You're
to
gonna work on it
I'm
more
probably
today.
gonna
Don't
work
even try to tell me you're
probably gonna
probably
work
going to.
and
Everybody listening right now, ask me again next week. You
yeah.
will work on it today, which I think is good. I think it'll make you feel better. I've noticed a lot more anxiety in you than normal due to
Mm-hmm.
this whole project. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
really, truthfully, from your partner over here, excited for it to be over.
I think I am too, low key. I am
I
too,
want you to be able to
because
breathe again and like,
planning anything, like even just like planning a wedding, planning a funeral, planning a move, planning like a lot of like orchestrating details and people and time frames and seasonality and all of the things. It's a lot. And like
it's just
and
really
planning takes time.
consuming.
I'm good at planning, um but I am ready to turn it off, and my cutoff date is coming soon. This week will be a big week for me for that, but it's also a really big week for everybody in the fucking world right now.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you guys a secret that I don't tell very many people. I have never voted before this year.
When you told me that you had
Ever.
never voted, my jaw hit the floor, and
You were shocked.
naturally, like at first, like my first instinct was like, you're fucking kidding me, right? Like I have certain like requirements with people, and like voting is a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Voting is a really big deal to me. I don't talk politics. It's always like we were raised in my generation, generations before that. You don't talk politics, you don't talk religion, you keep your fucking mouth shut. So the more comfortable and open we get, which I think it's great, everybody should be talking about it. If you're not talking about it, are you living under a rock? Because what the fuck? There's so much at stake right now, and um I am thrilled that this will be your first year voting. I
Mhm.
am thrilled that you have um, watched all of this unfold. It sounds like a fucking like soap opera over here, but like
Well,
I'm watching everything unfold and like really having like deep conversations.
mhm.
I feel sorry for the couples that can't do that.
Yeah, same. I think a lot of it for me is that like when I say I have never voted, it was never that I didn't have, I guess, the desire to do so eventually. It was that I never took the time to educate myself enough to feel as though I knew what I was doing enough. This is the first year that I have actually sat and watched videos and read articles and done my own research to an extent, which I wouldn't even really say I've done a ton of research. I could be better about it still, but it's
Mm-hmm.
the first time I've ever even dipped my toes into that at all.
Well, this is also, it's not the first year, but this is the most it's ever been this personal, right?
Mhm.
This is not, this is humanity. This is human rights. This is personal shit we're talking about. This is no longer like I don't give a fuck about gas prices and grocery store prices. If it's higher, it's higher. Like I care more about human
Yeah.
rights.
Yep. And I think for me, coming out and like having my own voice for the first time in my life, this is just another part of that for me.
Mhm.
Being able to vote, and whether I say it out loud what I'm doing, whether I have conversation with people that have been in my life that agree or disagree with me, that part aside, it feels good to know that like I'm standing up for myself and my beliefs in that way.
Mhm.
Just another thing to add to like once you really start to live for yourself authentically, like you start to think like, okay, wait a second, how is this going to impact me and what can I do to stop it or change it or shift it or even just be loud about it?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
We decided that we're going to walk into the
City
room
Hall.
together,
Mhm.
yeah, and hold hands and be very very proud lesbians as
Mhm.
we approach our
Ballot.
moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We had a good conversation this morning.
Yeah,
Um
because I saw really fucking sad videos that like mm, I don't know, some of the things that are happening in the world right now just it's really heartbreaking. It's really hard to like hear and see and put yourself in those shoes for a second.
and see somebody who wants to be a leader also being like the
So
ringleader of
disgusting.
it.
Ugh.
I feel like there's just like a lot of hate and venom and anger um and division,
Mhm.
and naturally it divides whether you like it or not. You can say you agree to disagree, but for me in this stage of my life, um we just disagree. I'm not going to be like, well, you have your opinion, I have my opinion. Like this is not just affecting me, it's affecting so many people.
Yeah. And I do think that there's something to be said about agree to disagree and keep your own opinions to yourself and
For some
like
things, absolutely.
yeah.
Sports teams, like fucking, I don't know, like there's just so many other things, but like when it comes to women's health,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not everybody gets a say in that.
I'm right there with you. I completely agree 100%. It's scary. The whole thing is scary to think about,
But
but
one of the conversations we were having this morning was about our parents and where our parents stand and our family members and certain people. And I know that if my dad was still alive, um, I think our relationship might not be
mhm.
what
It would have its struggles.
what I would hoped it be, and that sucks because when he was still alive and we were sitting, you know, in the hospital watching the news because you're just sitting in a hospital bed watching the
Nothing
news,
better to
whatever,
do.
nothing better to do. And I looked at the TV screen and I said, you still like this guy? And he said, oh, yeah. And I said, and you feel like I have equal rights? And he said, yep. And that fucking crushed me.
Yeah.
That crushed me because what am I going to do? Like sit and argue with my dad and have like this big debate while he's on his deathbed?
Doesn't feel quite right, no.
But then, like, in the same breath, he's still like turning to me and asking me to believe in a religion that he
Yeah,
believes in, and that's his last dying wish. And I have to look him in the eyes and say, I love that for you. I love that you've got to experience all of those things that led you to your faith and what you stand for and what you believe in. I love all of that for you, but those are not my experiences. I have not had those same experiences, and so I cannot just have the same vision, clear vision as you right now, what you're seeing and feeling. I don't have that. I love it
right.
for you. And
Well, and that was part of our conversation this morning is like, obviously, you never get that chance to have that conversation with your dad again, but the people that do have the chance to have the conversation with loved ones or family or even friends, like, where, when is the appropriate time? How do you approach it? Do you approach it? Do you say anything? Do you stay in your own lane? Because while it's like hard to do the whole agree to disagree, it's also hard to just be upfront and be like, I know this is how you're feeling. Let's hash it out. Because what is that going to do?
right.
Where is that going to get you except for just angry?
And then, yeah, and there's like so much anger. And so it's like, do you just naturally stay divided and you like separate yourself? Because that's kind of what I've done. I've separated myself from certain people in my family, siblings too,
Mm-hmm.
close relatives, of where I just say, like, I'm not going to sit at the table with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not okay with this.
Well, in like the book that we were reading last night, briefly, we were reading a couple new terms that we had never heard before. And one was like lesbian phobia, and the other was heterocentric. And then it was like comparing it to like homophobia. And it was describing what kind of people would fall under that category. And one of the main ones that stood out to me was that those types of people are so strong in their opinions that they're not willing to bend at all.
Mhm.
So having
Mhm.
conversations with them is like talking to a fucking wall. Like
Mhm.
you're not going to get anywhere.
Right. Even if you try to like paint every scenario and you're like, this could be your granddaughter, this could be your daughter, this could be somebody you know and love, and X, Y, and Z could happen because of
Right.
this happen,
It doesn't bend and like it doesn't change anything in their brain for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I guess I shouldn't say all of them, but most of them, the majority.
Is it because you think it doesn't directly affect them?
I think that it's because certain people, whether it's religious or homophobic or whatever it may be, they're so, it's kind of like trying to take someone who has been like force fed something for so long and like literally force them to throw it up. Like you can't. Mm, I just think they're so set in their ways they're not willing to change it. Even if in the back of their mind there's this little voice that's like, actually, what they're saying makes sense. They're not willing to say, I agree with you or I might be wrong because they always have to be right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's unfortunately the way that a lot of like the religion that I was raised in, I think they have that same mentality as well. And I think they kind of go hand in hand. I think that like homophobia, politics, religion, there's a certain group of people that kind of hit all three of those subjects that like just are so right in their own head that
Mm-hmm.
there's no,
Mm-hmm.
it's not worth it.
Yeah.
To me, it's not worth it to me because I'm not willing to put that much energy into it.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
that's why I guess I say that there's a small part of me that is like, I kind of get the agree to disagree because I just don't want to fucking deal with it. Like, there are certain people that I know I could turn blue in the face talking so much and it wouldn't matter. Like, it wouldn't change anything.
But what, okay, it wouldn't change anything of the belief, but what does it change for the relationship going forward? How do you navigate that? How do you navigate the relationships going forward with the people that you love and care about and wish that they equally love and cared about
And I
you?
think that's a great question in general for so many people right now. I think that's a really fucking solid question that honestly, I don't know. I think it's going to look different for every different situation. And I think for me personally, it's going to be just like keeping my boundaries super strong
Mhm.
and not allowing for any like on the flip side of that, you know, if someone approached me in a way of trying to throw their beliefs towards me again, I would be very quick to shut that shit down. So I kind of almost assume that someone would else be like they would be the same way on their end
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not willing to listen. Not like, and I shouldn't say that in all regards. There are certain things I'm not willing to openly discuss at this point in my life because I've heard enough to know that that is not where that does not align with me.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody that had different beliefs came to me and tried to say, let's sit down and I want to give you my point of view, if it touched on certain subjects, I would say respectfully, no.
Yeah, but just I feel like the difference is if somebody sat down with you and wanted to talk religion, and just like my dad wanted me to open my heart and let, you know, the Lord into my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I respectfully said that that's not for me. Like, I am more for a higher power, spiritual. I'm very spiritual, I'm very deep, and I'm more about the universe. I would just like flip it in my head when he would say certain things like Jesus or God or this or that. I would say like the universe, Mother Nature,
Mm-hmm.
um, those types of things. But to um sit down and want you to like truly believe what they're believing in, but then when the tables are turned and you sit down and you explain like life or death cases of women being denied health
Medical care.
care, medical care, and they're and as as an outcome they're dying because they were turned away and not treated,
Mm-hmm.
or the fact that to get the proper health care you have to travel and all, you know, to like a different state and hope that you don't go to prison afterwards, or um, all of these things, and then get into like the whole LGBTQ space and the importance that um, it needs to, like, certain things in healthcare, um we all need to be treated equally. We all
Mm-hmm.
deserve the same type of care. Like, to
100%.
say one is more worthy of another and the other one is should like just completely not have the type of mental health care or um you know,
Prenatal
surgery,
health
prenatal,
care,
all of it.
or yeah.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Like, how did it
Yeah.
get to this? And so how is it the same when you're trying to convince somebody like whether, and this is like a touchy subject because I don't want to say like I don't believe in something I don't see. I can believe in something I feel. I can have such a strong feeling. I can believe in something based on feeling it, but like like truly seeing the facts drawn out like right in front of your face, but this other whole side is like this like fantasy world
Mm-hmm.
and then reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, I doing things like this feels good. Speaking my mind and putting it out there what I believe in feels great. I think that it's up to each individual person to have the ability to open their mind to new things, and that's, had I not ever had that, I never would be sitting here right now. Like, I, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to hear and actually listen to what people are saying, and with an open mind.
Well, and how many people, you being one of them, have to unlearn
Oh god,
and
it's
unteach things that you taught your children that you no longer believe in, and there's just something, and a lot of people who grew up very religious and had a certain point of view and that later on completely flipped,
mhm.
and now they're able to see it a different way and share their story, um and you have to unlearn a lot of things.
Right. Yeah, I made a video talking about it recently, just even when it, you know, kind of like trickling into the motherhood side of things, it's hard enough to unlearn things on your own that you've been taught your whole life, like 30 years of a very strict way of teaching and believing. And so obviously that has its challenges in and of itself, but then you realize that you allowed your children to see and be raised in that same way, and it's like, fuck me, now we have to unlearn ourselves and unteach, and that is not easy.
Yeah, it's
That is
hard.
not easy. And as soon as you start to feel like you're making progress, something happens that you're like, oh shit, okay, hold on, back to
Mm-hmm.
the drawing board.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. And I'm learning that a lot more women, um, people, I guess in general, but in my
Parents.
experience, women specifically have reached out to me and said that they have the same the same feelings and had the same situation happen, where it's like you just become a mom so young, you fall into that same pattern of what you've been taught, and you don't have a voice for yourself, and that means that you definitely don't have a voice for your kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you, as I put it in my video, you kind of miss your mark. Your kids are only moldable for so long until they start to get their own opinion, and then they're not really quite so moldable anymore. And if you miss that, it's difficult.
I think that's why it's so important for um, children and young adults when you're first graduating, going off to college, whatever it is that you do, is to um, explore and experience. The only way you can learn is through experience. You can't just have your parents or see things and think that's an experience, right? By somebody just like regurgitating or telling you, oh, this is how it was, this is how it should be, or whatever. Like truly travel, expose yourself, and experience like real culture and different types of just day to day thinking and living, and sit at a different table and venture out. And I think because you became a mom at a very young age, getting pregnant at 17, you just did exactly what you were told.
Mm-hmm.
You did exactly what you were told, which good for you. You listened to your mom, I guess, right? But at the same time, like, you weren't getting exposed to other situations, so you stayed in that lane.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't challenge it. And I think when you go out and you explore and you learn and you completely just take in everything around you, you start to question. You
Mm-hmm.
start to get curious and you start to question
You're
things.
like, hold on, I've never seen it done like that before. Do I like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like
No, I
trying new
think it's all
foods.
the way from like, what were those movies you told me about last night that I was like,
Oh my gosh. The Bird Cage,
uh-huh,
Best in
Best in Show.
Show.
So we're talking about these movies, and I tell Kirby, I'm like, I don't know who the Bird Man or whatever the heck Larry Bird
And
is,
it
and
was
like
oh,
all
because the
these,
basketball, and I said, your son, Maddox really looks like a Larry Bird
and
out
I was
there.
like, Larry
Blonde
Bird, who's
hair, like
that?
fair skin.
But
Um,
with like my little exposure to life
well, and
prior
our age
to
gap.
and
There's
our
an
age
age gap.
gap, yes, but I think it touches on all the different subjects of like, okay, I haven't even seen these movies, but I also have never voted, but I also have never traveled, and it's all of the things that I think there's something to be said about mothers that became mothers so young and then finally get to live life a little bit more on the back end of motherhood, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of a weird, like, different feeling. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there are certain times that I think to myself, like, I should have been doing this right now 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
12 years ago,
Yeah.
and at least I'm getting to do it. That's great, and I love that I got here, because some people maybe never do, but damn, like,
Mm-hmm.
it
Well,
all goes back to like women should be able to have the right to decide.
yeah.
I'm just saying, because my life could look it should have looked very different.
Well,
Not that I
and
would say that it turned out awful or anything, but it
it,
doesn't feel quite fair.
yeah, it triggers my mind to go back to the time when you were um going through a little bit of a rockier phase of your divorce, and Jeff said to you, why is independence so important to you? He
Yeah.
couldn't wrap his mind around why you wanted to be independent.
Yeah.
um if it was up to him, you would have continued to live there. You would have continued your housewife,
Stay at home
stay at
mom
home mom
status.
status,
Mm-hmm.
even though you guys weren't together. And you would that would be the piece that he would be like, because like a lot of times for me, and like, I don't know, maybe this is disrespectful to say, but a lot of men really just want that like motherly live-in
Take care of me.
caretaker.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times in a relationship, when the relationship is ending, that's what they're like, oh fuck, now I got to figure this out. Now I got to deal with the kids a little bit extra. Now I got to clean up after myself and do my laundry and do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like every single man out there does this, but majority, like, I feel like we can raise our hand and say we either know somebody or it's happened to us where like you're just jumping right in and being the mom.
The funny thing about it, though, and what I've learned is that men are totally capable of doing that stuff on their own.
Mm-hmm.
They just have to be forced to
Like
do
forced
so.
so much that you have to remove yourself.
Remove yourself
And
from
that
the
was like
situation.
the
And then it's
thing.
like, holy shit,
The
you were capable of a lot.
I recently said to a friend who was just like a little bit, I could tell she was yearning for the co-parenting vibe. And
Okay.
I was like, yeah, a lot of the times when you feel like a single mom, even though you're not single, you feel like a single mom in the relationship, sometimes you will fantasize about this world of like, oh my God, wouldn't that be nice?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be nice
Mm-hmm.
if he had to take him for every other week or a weekend and like step in and do all of things and I could just get a break?
Yeah, because you push yourself to the point of exhaustion to where the only solution is removal.
And yeah, what happens is like exhaustion, and then you go into your power cleaning, and then that's when like resentment, like when you're power cleaning and you're like, people just think like, oh, mom's cleaning again. Like, mom's having a fucking breakdown
Breakdown.
internally and is like wanting to say some things that they can't say out loud. And holy shit,
If
like,
it seems as though the vacuuming is aggressive, it is
or
aggressive.
the bathtub scrubbing,
It really is.
gonna
There
clean
is
out the
aggression
refrigerator
there.
today and just scrub it all down.
Uh,
Yeah, I think that when I think back to hearing someone say to you who's known you since you were 14
mhm.
to say, why is independence so important to you? That just seals the deal of how many men out there just really think that a woman's place is just in the house,
Mhm.
taking care of the day to day
It
tasks and the
goes back
kids.
to that pattern of how everyone was taught that that's
It goes back
normal.
to Christian religion that came straight from the Bible. It really does. And like,
Yeah.
so that's the problem. It's like, I'm like, I
Mhm.
okay, I can listen to the story. I can see like get moral value, see like why I would want to treat my neighbor, with respect and love thy neighbor and all of the things. Of course.
Mhm.
The difference I feel like is I'm being a good person because I want to be a good person. I don't believe in heaven and hell. I
Mhm.
really don't. So like I'm not going about my life of like, ooh, I hope I still get in those white pearly gates or
Mhm.
whatever. Like I'm just being a decent human being because I want y'all to do the same.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think once you can get to a point where you're just kind of at peace with it, and as long as you feel as though your core values and beliefs are aligned in your life and you're making decisions that feel right for you, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with people that hype you up and have similar beliefs and make you feel good and happy, and everything else in the end, like, it's not our job. It's not, just
Mhm.
like it's not a Christian's job to make us not gay, right? It's not our
Mhm.
job to try to change their beliefs either. And I have found a peace with that where I'm just kind of like, I spent 30 years doing that shit, trying to believe something that didn't feel right, and I'm so good now.
So knowing that you're just good and laid back, if you find out if you found out that your mom voted for Trump, how would that make you feel?
I mean, shitty. It would make me feel shitty. I would have a lot of feelings inside, obviously. I would have a whole lot of feelings inside, but I don't have any control over that.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no control over it, and there is nothing I can say or do that would change it or fix it or make me feel any differently about it. There's nothing that anyone could say to me to justify that action that would make me feel as though I was like, "Oh, I get it. I get it. That's why you did that. Okay, cool."
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd be hurt, but
Would your boundaries get stronger? Would
I think my
you
boundaries are already pretty fucking strong. I'm not sure they can get much stronger. I've surprised myself lately.
I
I have
am
been
proud of
like,
you.
don't fucking look at me wrong lately, because I'll be like, bye. I'm
Yeah.
at a point in my life where I'm like, I don't care. I don't
I think
care.
that
And
happens naturally when you get older because once I entered my 40s, I just like stopped like the people pleasing, or the like I have to be this type of way for this person and this type of way, like the ornament on the tree, right? I just stopped caring. And with that came like being able to let go. And when I knew that I was forcing it or it was making me uncomfortable and it didn't feel right, I just took away the effort.
Mhm.
I took away the effort because there was no longer a purpose for me. I
Mhm.
was like, this is not serving me.
Yeah. Yeah, and whatever age it may happen for whatever different person, I definitely think that's the era I'm in right now is like I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to say anything. I just need to be me, and if you like it, great. I love anybody that loves me and wants to be in support and, you know,
But
team
but like
player.
you today, not loves. Like I feel like so many people lock into this like, oh, I just loved the old Ember. I loved the old Kirby. I just,
I do think that I understand it. I do think I understand why people are that way. It's similar to your pronouns. People get so stuck on how they saw you for years and years and years, how they labeled you for years, and especially family who watched you grow up and maybe you went through a couple different phases of life or whatever that may be. I think the hard part of it is when those phases that they saw were never actually you, and that's my own fault for never speaking up for myself. So I can't entirely blame them and be like, "Well, you're stupid for not opening up your mind to who I am now," because like I allowed them to think that I was a different person for many, many years of my life, and that's on me.
yeah, I guess, but also like, I think the other side of it is when a woman, say, gets married and all of a sudden gets a new last name.
Mhm.
And they're not, I don't know, Stevens anymore. They're Smith. That's the first thing that
Okay.
fucking came to mind, right? Ember Smith. And it's like, because you're married to a man, because like that's the tradition, like you just pick it up and you go with it. And it's like Ember Smith, no
Mhm.
longer, Ember Stevens
Mhm.
anymore. And then let's just say, oh gee golly, that relationship failed and didn't work out, so you try again, and now you're Ember Johnson. Okay. And because it's a man, everybody's okay with it. Everyone's just like, they got remarried, it didn't work out, it was sad, but now they're happy.
Mhm.
If I was a man, and we know this for a fact, if I was a man and it was Ember Kennedy, people, you smile so big with that one.
Say it again.
So many people would be like, well, that's great for you. But it's different. It's different.
Yeah.
The change, the evolution, the seasons. It's like how people have experienced their parents being married multiple times. And
Mhm.
every time with a name change or
A
a
relocation, job
relocation,
change. Yep.
a glow up of,
Yeah.
you know, mom had this at one point but now has a blended family and now has this, and it's like very easy to accept that.
You know what I think it is? It all goes back to humans being afraid of change, the fear of the unknown. So people that have been set in their way of hetero marriages their entire lives, and that's what they believe in, and that's what they align with. It's scary to hear that their daughter, sister, friend, mother, whatever might be with the same sex. Like, holy fuck, that's new. That's scary because humans are scared of things they don't
They're
understand.
scared of two
Bunch
people
of little
naturally
wimps.
loving each other.
Yeah.
That sounds
But
so
that is but
scary.
that is how human brains work. If I don't understand it, I'm going to be fearful of it.
Because it goes back to religion.
Yeah.
It's all fear based.
100%.
And
And
that
so is this
and
election.
so is this election.
Yeah.
Full fucking circle.
Yeah, it really is full circle.
It's
See, there's this full circle happening, and I totally understand a whole lot of it. And I'm just like right on the outside of it, choosing to stay the fuck out of it. And that's
same
the
though.
peace that I've come to. Like, that's where when I say I've come to peace with all of it, I've come to terms with where I'm at. I can watch the whole circle spin. I can have my opinion. I can say what it is that's on my mind, but I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to join the circle. I'm going to do what I can do from out here for myself. I'm going to vote. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to be my own loud, proud voice. And y'all keep spinning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out.
Yeah, I feel that. And I think it was my brother this morning was asking, we were talking about, Wisconsin being very It's a red state,
God,
and
it's kind of hard
the
to
amount
hard
of
to
Trump
watch.
the amount of Trump signs, and we have nothing in our yard. Not
Mm-mm.
even like this is our behind. If you're watching the video of this, our pride flag.
By design, though, by design, do we not have anything in
We
our
have
yard because
nothing.
we are not
Like I well, first of all, I don't want to be a target. I'm sorry. Like,
exactly.
I don't want to put my family in danger. It doesn't feel safe. And that's sad that it's like that, but it doesn't feel safe. And I'm not going to put my family in danger because I want to show everybody how big my dick is, you know? Like, honestly, that's what it feels like. Those
It's a
big
pissing match.
fucking
It's a
signs.
pissing
And
match.
I'm just like,
There are some
no, I'm not
signs
getting
that
in
are
on it.
so fucking big they fill entire the sides of entire homes, and I'm just like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, it is, I I'm loud. I am loud with my thoughts and my feelings and my energy. I'm very loud and I will always speak my mind and say what I believe in. And I am transparent and authentic about it. But I'm also very loving and respectful.
Hmm.
And I'm not going to scream in somebody's face.
And
I'm
that's the
not going to make a joke that diminishes them as a person or their existence.
And that's the difference because, like, similar to when we drove down the street yesterday, and there's all those supporters out there with their signs and really in your face. Religion is the same way, very in your face, very here, take this brochure, take this, take that. Standing outside of fucking pride events with like Bible scripture or whatever, people like them are very loud in the sense of let me shove this down your throat, while
Mm-hmm.
people like us can be loud in the sense of if you want to come learn
Mm-hmm.
how we feel, we will openly welcome you to
Mm-hmm.
hear our loud, but we're not going to come cram it down your fucking throat, like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part of it that I think people can still love each other and support each other on different ends of, just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not our job to go and like force something into someone so hard.
Right.
And I like, and we don't do that. And I wish that
No, yeah,
everybody
nobody
wouldn't fucking do
we're
that.
not
Like,
asking, we're not saying like everybody has to fall into place with us and be like us. We're just saying like
if you're
we
listening right now, you're choosing to be here and hear our loud, right?
and literally all we're asking is for a community to exist
Mm-hmm.
and have the same health care and have the same rights and be viewed as
Mm-hmm.
equals.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
it.
coming from somebody who literally this will be the first year that I have ever gone in there and voted, like, I do think that it's extremely important. So if you're listening to this and you haven't like figured that out yet, you still have time and you still should. And if you at all by any means have this voice inside of you that's like, well shit, I don't agree, or I want to be able to like stand up for myself, you should do it.
Or you need to cancel somebody's vote out.
God.
Do
Blech.
like I hate that. Like I said the last time, I hate that it's that way. It's ick. Why stay with somebody if you like can't have the conversation and you have to cancel it out? But from experience, I also know that like over time people change and um the news, the fake news brainwashes a lot of people. And so like it's sad when like even in relationships when you're dating and you're getting, you know, you're going to get married and all of the things, you're checking all the boxes and you think you truly know somebody, you think you truly know them, and then you get into the parenting stage and all of a sudden your beliefs are different or your parenting style is different and all of a sudden you're like, wow, we're very different in how we would raise our children. This doesn't work for me, I'm not aligned to this.
Mm-hmm.
um that kind of stuff happens and then you just get further and further away from them to the point now where like sometimes it's even hard for me to be like, how did I allow that person in a hospital room with me
Right.
to deliver this baby? Like that, you like make me uncomfortable,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And so, um,
Mm.
there's thoughts like that. Like, I don't know. Either way, take this as your sign if you've never voted, if you're on the fence about voting. Ember's first time voting. I'm going to give a round of applause for that because, like, that is a big fucking deal.
It is.
And I'm very honored that you will be voting in Wisconsin.
Hand in hand.
And we will do this together and we will openly talk about it. And whatever the final outcome is, we are still going to show up with love and happiness in our heart. We are going to continue our goals and our passion and our journey, none of that is going to change us. We are still going to show up every day, every week for you guys, share our story. There might be some challenges
Mhm.
that happen um, after the election takes place, but we're here. We're not going anywhere, and we're not changing who we are at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Um, and we're not going to inflict any kind of rage or anger or project or any of that. We're not here for that.
Mhm.
We're not fighting those battles.
Positivity,
Yep.
it's more powerful than people realize. And
Yep.
I wish I would have learned that a lot sooner in
Yep.
life.
And love is love.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, love is love. I literally had a conversation in the car with one of the boys the other day about um not having to come out. And
Yeah.
I think it was with my youngest.
I
I think
I can't
I can't
remember,
remember
but
which kid it
I think
was.
what you
It was
said was you would never even have to come out to us.
he was like going through the things like, yeah, and it's okay for a boy to like a boy, a girl to like a girl, and blah blah blah. I was going through the whole list, right? And I said, and the best part about it is you don't have to come out. You don't have to tell us. You just like who you like, love who you love, get to know yourself, love yourself.
And if more people could be that way, again, teaching our kids how to be good people from the get-go before you lose the ability to be that mold, like to
Yep.
mold that yeah.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Good topics, real topics.
Hard topics,
And hard
but
topics. It's uncomfortable talking about this, you know? It's like even I felt myself a little bit just dancing around some of the topics we're talking about now because I'm thinking of like,
oh, we could
oh,
get
you
so
know,
much. You guys should have heard us in bed this morning because we could get a lot more intense.
yeah, we get pretty
We're
intense.
holding it back for you.
Anyways, whoever you vote for, be fucking nice. Like I I I don't know what else to say. I don't want to say anything shitty.
Be a good
Be a
person,
good
yeah.
person.
Have an open mind, be willing to learn, be willing to learn and evolve. I've
And
always
unlearn.
said,
Be willing to
mhm,
unlearn.
mhm. Yeah, but you can't unlearn until you learn something new. So it's a whole process, and like I've always said, if we aren't continuously evolving, then what are we doing?
Yep.
Because that's the whole point.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I'm proud of you
I'm proud
for
of
voting.
you.
Go vote. You got time still.